They say true leadership isn't revealed in times of comfort, but in the fires of opposition. Imagine being a foreigner in the most powerful empire on earth. You're trusted, respected, but your heart is burdened for a place you've never seen. Nehemiah could have stayed in comfort. But when he heard about the broken walls of Jerusalem, he wept. He fasted. And then, he rose. This is not just a story about bricks and stone. It's a story of vision, courage, and divine calling. This is the story of Nehemiah. Nehemiah served as cupbearer to King Artaxerxes, a high-ranking and dangerous job. One sip of poisoned wine, and he'd die before the king did. Now I was cupbearer to the king. Nehemiah 1 verse 11. Then came tragic news from his brother. Jerusalem was in shambles. Its walls torn down, its gates burned with fire, and its people exposed to shame. The wall of Jerusalem is broken down, and its gates have been burned with fire. Nehemiah 1 verse 3. Nehemiah wept. For days he fasted and prayed, pleading with God to show mercy to his people. I mourned and fasted and prayed before the God of heaven. Nehemiah 1 verse 4. Months passed. Then one day, the king noticed Nehemiah's sadness. That alone could have cost him his life. Why does your face look so sad when you are not ill? This can be nothing but sadness of heart. Nehemiah 2 verse 2. With a quick prayer, Nehemiah replied, Why should my face not look sad when the city where my ancestors are buried lies in ruins? Nehemiah 2 verse 3. He then made the bold request, Send me to the city in Judah where my ancestors are buried so that I can rebuild it. Nehemiah 2 verse 5. Miraculously, King Artaxerxes agreed. He gave Nehemiah permission, letters for safe passage, and timber from the king's own forest. Because the gracious hand of my God was on me, the king granted my requests. Nehemiah 2 verse 8. Upon arriving in Jerusalem, Nehemiah waited 3 days. Then, under cover of darkness, he rode around the city to inspect the damage for himself. I went out by night, examining the walls of Jerusalem, which had been broken down, and its gates, which had been destroyed by fire. Nehemiah 2 verse 13. He didn't speak of his plans yet. He prayed, watched, and listened. Then he called the people together and said, Come, let us rebuild the wall of Jerusalem, and we will no longer be in disgrace. Nehemiah 2 verse 17. And the people responded with one voice. Let us start rebuilding. So they began this good work. Nehemiah 2 verse 18. The moment rebuilding began, so did the resistance. Sanballat the Horonite and Tobiah the Ammonite heard what was happening and laughed them to scorn. What is this you are doing? Are you rebelling against the king? Nehemiah 2 verse 19. Later, they mocked the entire effort. What are those feeble Jews doing? Even a fox climbing up on it would break down their wall. Nehemiah 4 verses 2-3. But Nehemiah didn't flinch. He answered their mockery with prayer and persistence. Hear us, our God, for we are despised. Nehemiah 4 verse 4. As threats intensified, Nehemiah armed the people. From that day on, half of my men did the work, while the other half were equipped with spears, shields, bows and armor. Nehemiah 4 verse 16. Some worked with one hand and held weapons with the other. Those who carried materials did their work with one hand and held a weapon in the other. Nehemiah 4 verse 17. Nehemiah moved among them and shouted. Don't be afraid of them. Remember the Lord, who is great and awesome, and fight for your families. Nehemiah 4 verse 14. Then came a new problem, from within. The rich were exploiting the poor. Children were being sold into slavery over debt. Nehemiah was furious. What you are doing is not right. Shouldn't you walk in the fear of our God? Nehemiah 5 verse 9. He demanded they return the fields, homes, and money. The nobles agreed. We will give it back. We will not demand anything more from them. Nehemiah 5 verse 12. Nehemiah didn't just rebuild walls. He rebuilt justice. As the wall neared completion, the enemies tried a different tactic: distraction. Sanballat sent word, "Come, let us meet." But Nehemiah replied, "I am doing a great work and cannot come down." Nehemiah 6 verse 3. They tried intimidation. They spread rumors. They bribed false prophets. But Nehemiah would not back down. They were all trying to frighten us, thinking, their hands will get too weak for the work. But I prayed, "Now strengthen my hands." Nehemiah 6 verse 9. And then, it happened. After 52 days of labor, sweat, faith, and perseverance, the wall was finished. So the wall was completed, in 52 days. When all our enemies heard about this, all the surrounding nations were afraid and lost their self-confidence, because they realized that this work had been done with the help of our God. Nehemiah 6 verses 15 to 16. Jerusalem's honor was restored. And Nehemiah's legacy was sealed, not just as a builder, but as a servant who dared to believe. Nehemiah wasn't a prophet. He wasn't a warrior. He was a cupbearer, a man of quiet faith and fierce courage. He saw a need, felt the burden, and trusted God to make the impossible happen. When mocked, he prayed. When threatened, he fought. When injustice rose, he confronted it. When fear came, he stood firm. His life is a challenge to every believer. You don't need a title to make a difference. You just need the call, and the courage to answer it. If Nehemiah's story inspired you, don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell for more powerful stories from Scripture. And remember, like Nehemiah, you're called to build something in this world. Don't come down. Keep building.